Hey, and welcome to the highlights of episode number 283 with Turia Pitt. Some of my favorite parts of this episode were when she spoke about how breaking down your goals can help you feel less overwhelmed. I really loved her strategies around this. I also loved the tools Turia used to prevent herself from giving up, her advice to anyone who is struggling or going through a challenging time. And I also loved when she spoke about how we can find our tribe. So if that's something that you're interested in, this episode is for you. And there is so much more wisdom and inspiration that you get in the full episode. So to listen to the full podcast and get all the info in the show notes, head on over to melissaambrosini.com/283 right now. Beautiful Turia, I am so excited to have you on the show. It's been a long time coming. We've all experienced adversity to varying degrees, but can you tell us about, the time that you had to overcome one of the hardest things that you have ever experienced and how you did it? What were the tools, the mindset hacks, and the tips that you used to support yourself to get through that time?
I got badly burned during an ultramarathon in 2011, and I was placed in an induced coma, and I woke up around a month later in hospital. And I think I always get asked if the fire was the hardest thing about my whole journey, and it actually wasn't. It was the process of rebuilding my life in hospital. And I remember once a physiotherapist came into my room and he said, "Today's the day that we're going to learn how to stand up." And he grabbed me by my shoulders and he pulled me up in bed and he brought me to my feet. And I just remember sobbing and crying all over his neck. And I think that was the hardest point of my whole journey. And it wasn't because of the pain, but it was because the enormity of what lay ahead of me just hit me in the face because I couldn't even stand up by myself. So the thought of, learning to walk again, learning to run again, going back to work, having a family with my beautiful partner, Michael, all of those little milestones were so far out of my grasp that they seemed insurmountable. And so I realized, or I decided that I had to literally focus on taking each day as it came and just focusing on getting through each day and not being too hung up on what my future might look like. So I really like to take a simplistic view and just kind of forget about the long game and just focus on what am I doing today that's going to move me closer towards my goal. And that's kind of what I've done throughout my whole journey.
How did you move through that? Like, what was some of the mindset beliefs that you had to overcome and how did you do that? Like, what were some of the tools that really helped you move through those tough times where I'm sure there were moments where you thought, oh my gosh, I want to give up?
I think one of the main things I did was that when I felt like I wanted to give up, I accepted that feeling. There will be moments along that journey where you feel like giving up, where you feel like you're not cut out for it, where you feel like you're not smart enough or you're not good enough or whatever. And I think if we just accept it as part of the process of growth. And I think really if you're not stretching yourself and you're not trying new things and you're not trying to grow, then really you're stagnating at the same time. And so I guess it was almost a process of just trying to be kind to myself, trying to have empathy towards myself and recognizing that you don't build Rome in a day. You don't get from A to B overnight necessarily. There's a lot of hard work and grind that goes on behind the scenes.
Do you look back now to that time? Do you look back and just feel so proud of yourself?
I think most people, if they looked back on their lives and the things that they've achieved, they'd feel proud of themselves as well. But I think maybe it's a bit how our society is set up that we don't allow ourselves to reflect on our successes. We don't allow ourselves to reflect on our achievements. And we don't, if you feel proud of yourself, then it's almost like you're trying to big note yourself. But I think feeling proud of yourself and thinking, yeah, I've done something really cool and that's amazing. I think that's a really good mindset to have. that's what they call savoring, isn't it? And too often in life we achieve something really awesome and we go, cool, what's next? We set our sights immediately on the next goal we've got for ourselves. And I think we really miss a crucial step in the process, which is, you stop in the moment, you reflect on what you've done, you allow yourself to be proud of that, you step outside that moment and you savor it and you relish in it and you try and just soak up that feeling of success and achievement. And I think that's really crucial, especially with our world today, because we don't pay enough attention to stopping and celebrating our milestones or our successes or achievements. And I think that's really crucial.
I talk a lot about the inner mean girl. What are some of the things that your inner mean girl says to you, and how do you move through them?
Yeah, well, I think, we're our own worst critics. That voice inside our head probably says some of the nastiest things to us that no one would ever say to us. And my inner critic, I call it the inner critic, can be a real mouthy, nasty bitch if I let if I let her off the leash for too long. And so what I try to do is if my inner critic is being really mouthy, I stop her and I say, how would you speak to your best friend? If your best friend made a mistake at work and she called you up and she was upset, would you say to her, yeah, you're an idiot. Of course you're going to make mistakes because you never get anything right? Or would you have a little bit more compassion and be like, okay, mate, you did stuff up, but it's only one mistake. And like you said, your boss isn't that angry at you. Let's go out tonight. Let's go have a dinner together. And I'm sure this time next week, it'll all blow over. And so I think just having that little bit of compassion and empathy towards yourself and just talk to yourself like you would talk to your best friend.
Totally. What would you say for someone who may be experiencing a challenge right now or some adversity right now? What would be your advice?
Look, I think when you're going through the thick of adversity, it can be really hard for sure. But I would just say that there is light at the other end of the tunnel. And I would say not to spend their energy focusing on what their future may look like. It would just to be focusing on successfully getting through the day. And if you can, like, try and enjoy your day. And if you can't enjoy the whole day, try and enjoy an hour. And if you can't enjoy an hour, that's fine too. And if the thought of enjoying it is too hard, well, just try surviving it. Just try getting through it. Yeah. But I would definitely recommend to them to break it down. Don't spend all of their energy thinking about what the future's going to look like, and just focus on getting through each day. And if that's too hard, just each hour.
How has becoming a mother changed you?
Look, I think it's changed me. I think it's changing for the better. It's made me more caring, more compassionate, more selfless, more thoughtful. And, if I think about Turia now as a mum, I definitely feel like I am an enhanced version. Like I like this Turia a lot.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. I found it to be really beautiful. Having said that, I also want to recognize, like, I have a lot of help. I have a partner who's very supportive and very helpful. My mum lives down the road. My in-laws live 5 minutes away. So we have a very good support system where we live. And I think that contributes a lot to how I feel as well. Because I know if it was, let's say Michael was going to work every day and it was me at home all day with Huckaway, and, we didn't have any help from any friends or family, maybe Michael and I would find it more difficult.
How would you suggest people kind of get more support or find their tribe? This is a question, honestly, I get asked so much by people. They're like, how can I find my tribe? I want to find a like minded, supportive community of soul sisters. Like, where do I find them? So, do you have any advice around that?
I do, but I think to start with, I don't think you can get everything that you're looking for from the same people. I don't know if you follow Esther Perel's advice at all, but she talks about how we used to get all of the things we needed from a village, and now we look for all of those qualities in our partner. So our partner has to be very sexy, a great lover, very funny, very supportive, make all the money, be a good cook, be a good listener, and all of these different things that we might have gotten from a wide group of people, we're now expecting to get it from just the one person. Um, so I think with our support network, I think it's you can have your mates that you go to netball with and you have a great time with, and you like being fit with them, and then you can have a couple of girlfriends that you get to talk about your business with, and their business ideas that they're doing and what they're trying in their business, and you can have your girlfriends or your mates or your family that you really connect over cooking with and you share recipes with, and you can have your partner who you get some stuff from, but might not necessarily tick that long list of things that you need from other people. So I think it would be just maybe dropping that expectation that you'll find everything that you need from other people in the one person or in the handful of people. That would be my advice. But I know, Melissa, you talk a lot about creating your tribe and finding your tribe. So what advice do you give?
The way that I always suggest people find a tribe or find more like-minded people is, firstly, they could go where those people hang out. And then also online, I think Instagram is an incredible way to meet people. I've met a lot of my friends on Instagram. I think both hang out where they hang out online and offline, and then also be the type of friend that you want to call into your life. You've got to radiate that first, because then you will attract that into your life. So that's personally what I do. And then, nurture those relationships. I think, friendships, they need watering like a plant. If you want a plant to grow, you've got to water it. If you want a relationship to grow, you've got to water it. And I personally find that, investing time into your friendships, then they're going to grow. And that's a beautiful way to nourish your community, nourish your tribe. And, that's what I do.
Mm. And I think as well, Melissa, you have to, you almost have to do the work and put yourself out there, because, you can't go to work, come home, watch Netflix, sit on the couch, and then say, oh, there's no good men out there, or I can't seem to make any friends. You have to do that uncomfortable stuff of going out on dates, going to a yoga studio opening that you might feel a bit awkward about, not just hanging on your phone the whole time and trying to have a conversation with someone. You have to be willing to do that uncomfortable stuff, like going to a party and not really knowing many people there, and having a couple of awkward, stilted conversations with people. But I think you have to be willing to put in that work if growing your friendship base or deepening your relationships is what you want to do.
I want to know what your definition of success is, and what do you attribute to your success?
I think a successful life is one where we've got good connections and good relationships, and when we are able to work on stuff that we find really meaningful to us. I think if you can do those things, then that paints a pretty good picture of success. And who I attribute my success to, I've always tried to surround myself with people who believe in me, who are positive, and who lift me up. So I definitely think people like that, like my mom and my partner, I think they've been really instrumental to my success. And I also think if you've got a good work ethic and that you're not afraid of doing the work and you're willing to put in the time and to put in the dedication, I think that will help you a lot as well. And I guess I've been fortunate that I've had great people around me, and I've got pretty good work ethic as well. That if something needs to get done, I know that I can get it done. I can rely on my skill set and I can rely on myself to do that.
What's one thing that's bringing you the most joy in your life right now?
One thing that's bringing me the most joy in my life right now, look, I'd probably say my son Huckabye. Uh, every morning when I wake up, I think to myself, what would one thing, what would be one thing I could do today which would make today great? And usually that one thing pertains to him. So this afternoon, I'll go for a swim with him down the beach. And yesterday it was swimming with him at the pool. And I think he's a good, healthy dose of perspective for me. And he reminds me that my life is bigger than just me now. And I think that's really beautiful. It's good for me to be reminded of that.
What are you working on or would like to improve within yourself at the moment?
Look, I've had one baby, and I think after I have a baby, I like to take a bit of time out from goal setting and working on myself and improving, because I think it's a bit like that aspect of savoring or relishing in a goal. I'm not sure if we necessarily need to be improving on something or working on something or striving for something all the time. I think there's space in our life to just kind of enjoy it and to just go with it and to take each day as it comes. And so this next baby I'm having is going to be born in a couple of weeks. So I think I'm just really looking forward to 6 months, of just spending time with my family and really getting to know my new baby. If you want to get up in the morning and you want to write or you want to create something, then that's fine. But, there's also, I think there is space in our lives to not just cram it full of, podcasts and learning and listening and improvement, but also spending some time in, checking in with your friends, investing in your relationships, having fun, writing if you feel like writing, but also just maybe just taking that pressure off as well. In that you don't have to get everything that you want to get done right now. It doesn't all have to happen at once. And the truth is, it's not going to happen all at once either. So I think if you just take the pressure off yourself, give yourself some space to breathe, and then just see what happens there. I think that's a really interesting perspective to take on it as well.
Play is one of my top priorities, but it hasn't been for so many years. But it is now such a priority for me. And that brings me so much joy. And I want to know what is play to you? Like, what does play look like for you?
I think play for me, and I agree with you, Melissa. I think it is really important. And I also think counterintuitively, it makes us more productive. Because if you're in a good mood, you're happy, you're full of energy, you're going to get shit done a lot quicker than if you're feeling resentful, stressed, frustrated, angry, mad, which is how a lot of us feel from time to time, especially when we're sitting down at our desks all day and we're saying, we have to do this right now. It has to get done today. It's hard to be productive when you're in that kind of frame of mind. So for me, for play or for fun, I love spending time with my son. I think there's probably nothing more playful or delightful than a toddler. It is challenging at times, but I think they're just inherently inquisitive and fun and curious and hilarious. So I think spending time with my son, spending time with my partner Michael, whether that's, going for a bushwalk or getting outside. And I also really love surfing and running, but I haven't been able to do those things recently because I'm very heavily pregnant. And I'd also say spending time with people who make you feel good. And again, it's not easy to prioritize catching up with a friend for dinner because maybe you're tired and you've had a big day at work and you're on deadline and this is due and that's due and you're behind on your project. So it can be really easy to be, to reschedule those things and be dismissive of the plans that we've made. But I think if you prioritize spending time with people who make you feel good, you're going to find that enjoyable, and that's going to give you a better mindset going into whatever it is that you're working on at the moment.
Absolutely. Absolutely.